Welcome to this live stream for Sim Update number 5 public beta for Flight Simulator 2024. As you can see currently, Flight Simulator has already started. But hey, where's the update? The update is not there yet. At least not what I figured out. So let's have a look at that. Right, let me close down Flight Simulator again. And let's see if we can already get it. So while we're waiting for the update to be available, how to sign up also, I will also explain it. So pay attention. Hopefully the update will appear very soon here. Normally when you see these kind of updates, the Xbox Live update, that will in most cases mean that it's, it comes soon. But again, that's always the question with Asobo, because you never know, right? They don't give a timeline on that part yet. If we focus on the sim update itself, where will the focus be? Because it's kind of interesting, right? If we look at the roadmap, we can see that there are multiple updates, newer. Sim update number 4 was already here. Then there was, I would say, a surprise update. And after that, we didn't see a real, new roadmap update from Asobo. But looking at the latest snapshot, which as far as I could figure out is the one from the 8th of October 2025, we can already see some items which will be part of Sim Update number 5. One of them will be the FPS Performance / the VRAM bug. That was also, I would say, fixed partially in Sim Update number 4, but looks like they found some more enhancements, but that needs to be confirmed, when looking at the latest release notes, which are also not there yet. On this page we can see another fix, which is the Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 is randomizing the position of clouds for each person that, and then something. That's also partially fixed in Sim Update number 4, and there will be more fixes in Sim Update number 5. Now the interesting thing is that one of the other YouTubers already saw that clouds have improved between brackets, so that's kind of interesting. If we scroll down, we can look to the next item, and the next list is also pretty long, and there you see specific graphic artifacts around the cockpit at night, but that one is specifically for the AMD RX 9000 series GPU. So this is also planned. It's not there yet, but let's see once the update is there, if it's also in official release list. Scrolling down the list, we will find the next one, and the next one is this one. This one also pretty interesting. Oh, that was the one I already looked at, sorry. This one, also pretty interesting, but this list, doesn't contain any specific Sim Update number 5 fixes. Scroll now further, we will find more things, right? There are so much things which they needed to fix. And this is, one which I am, most looking for, and that's the Poi City and town name missing. That's especially useful if you're flying VFR. You don't know where you are, you can sign on or enable those labels, and then you can see where you are. For those who are playing in virtual reality mode, there's also some good news, because the walk around mode, the VR toolbar and top EFB blocking view, that should also be fixed very soonish. Scrolling down the list, what do we find more? Because there was more. There's the significant status changing views. Probably you also faced it, right, when doing this. We were also, experiencing issues with performance, but now that looks like to be fixed. And there's another one for the Cessna C408 SkyCourier. The condition levelers are unbindable. That should also be fixed in the update. Rest of the items, I'm not sure if they will fix it, right? There's still a lot of things under investigation based on the latest roadmap. But it's hard to say if they fixed it eventually. Now let's press refresh here to see if it's already live. No, it's not there yet, right? So that's really, nasty, because it's always the challenge if you're planning. But hey, at least the forum is live. So let's look at the forum and then let's see what's included. Because Sim Update number 5 discussion thread, right, that's where you will find a lot of information. So the general 5 update thread, that's there. It looks like that they still are busy posting things, because as you can see, only this SU5 the beta discussion is there and the surveys, and the rest is kind of empty, which means it's likely not live. But let's do another check. To do the check, we're going to the game or the Microsoft Store, and then we simply press check. and to see if it downloads the update. Because if there is an update, it will likely come first via the store, and then the rest of the updates will be live once we're, let's say, going into Flight Simulator. But looks like it's not there yet, right? What did they fix in this one? That might be also interesting. In this case, did they fix something specifically to Flight Simulator? It's always hard to figure out, but doesn't look like, right? The store listing has been localized. That's the only thing which is new. So for those who are not participating in the beta yet, and if you want to join, there's also some good news, because you can now sign up yourself also. It's a little bit different, right? They changed the process a bit, but since we're waiting for the update to land, let's have a look at it. So what you need to do is there's a form which you can open, and I will open it on a separate tab. That's where you can register, right? So you can, I would say, register, and then I would say if you're lucky, you're signed in already, like I am, and then you can provide the Insider program. You would need to do some things, specifically if you're using the Xbox Insider Hub, then you would need to do an additional registration. If you're working on the PC, then you also need to upload your DAC file, and then also some other stuff. But that's kind of fun, right? You can also, I'd say, completely sign out if you don't want to participate anymore. So always good to know. And with that, right? So general bug, is there already something? No, there's still nothing, right? They're busy posting stuff, but it's not there yet. So let's check again, because now I'm curious. And it was kind of a risk, right? Posting stuff here and then simply saying, okay, hey, let's do it. But as you already saw, it's kind of challenging because the update is not there yet. Let's see if we press it again. Do we see it? No, it's not there yet. So that's kind of, let's say, well, disappointing. Let's keep it that way. But again, that's the risk for me launching this live stream and waiting for the update, because maybe it comes at 8 o'clock my time. I don't know. Maybe it comes, I would say, in a few minutes. I don't know, right? Because they don't communicate any, say, timelines, and that's the nasty thing about this. They posted the forum post already, right? The surveys, but there's nothing yet. So what shall we do in the meantime? What shall we do in the meantime? Gonna check the updates. Gonna check the updates to see if it's already there. Because I want to be one of those first who gets the update and can test it out. Because I've got a wild plan to do some testing. We're gonna test, let's say, flying above London and New York, because those are the most busiest areas. What are the other things which we're gonna test? Well, the other things which we're gonna test are, I would say, kind of cool. That's, for example, the performance. How does it work performance-wise? Can we see huge differences? Can we see specific fixes for the C408, for example? And of course, I'm open for a Q&A where we can do multiple tests depending on what you prefer. So let me know via the messages box, or let's say the chat box, what you want to see, what you want to test. Because I am really curious about what you are expecting and what you think is really cool. Now, let me press the check for updates again, and then let's see if that works. So if there's someone watching this one, do you already have access to the beta, right? Do you already see it has landed in your case? I, to be honest, still don't have it. So let me quickly jump to Flight Simulator, right? Let me say, maybe if we start it, then we'll pop up. And here we go. We're lucky. It's there. The update. Sim update number 5. So this is the first thing which you will see, right? It needs to download 3.6 gigabytes. Well, that's kind of pretty interesting. But hey, it's not an issue, right? Because we can simply wait and it will likely go fast. However, as always, everybody is pressing that download button. And we know what happens with updates. Also with city updates, with world updates, servers are hammered. And it's always an issue. Always, right? I can't remember, I would say, the last time it wasn't an issue. Even with Flight Simulator 2020, downloading those large updates, well, that also took some time. But now it's there, which is really nice. So let's see if it's working. And let's see if it's cool. Are we there yet? No, not yet, right? 3.6, but you can see download speed is, I would say, kind of okay. Not too bad. I would say So 3, 4, almost 1 gigabyte, or almost at the 1 gig. That's cool. What can we do else? Well, we can only wait. I'm simply gonna wait and let's see how it is. Let's see how this sim update number 5 is there. But while waiting for this, let's see if they already post some more content. Because maybe they here new mapping. Okay, it looks like that they updated already some stuff. So this is pretty interesting information. So they did some remapping. So the remapping, alt and then the number up to number 6, the query layout on the keyboard 2024 transversal profile mapping is now alt 1 is toggle nameplates, the ribbon, the toggle landing ribbon, the CFD, the wake up turbulence display, the 3D terminal display, then also specific VR settings which you can do. So the question is, okay, hey, does it only apply to people, let's say, who are playing, in this case, only on VR, or is it available for everyone? That's interesting. Did they already added some other stuff? No, only surveys, the general feedback thread, release notes. Okay, pretty interesting. So these are the release notes. So let's go to them, right? Well, it's loading. So first of all, there's some new content. Oh, that's interesting. New content. What did they deliver? First of all, they upgraded the Toby SDK for those who are playing with the Toby version to version 9.0.4.26. Then we had the aircraft variation type is now displayed on the aircraft selected tile. The prompt exit aircraft is now properly hidden when the HUD is hidden. They added an option to hide the HUD while in walk around mode. They added the feedback when a photographer collection has been fully completed, and they also added a hover state on the live slider in the flight conditions when selecting it was on the gamepad rather than directly selecting the live slider. Besides that, you can see that there are again a lot of optimizations for the airport parking lots, parked car systems, the memory and the performance for both buildings, as well as partial effect systems. There are fixes for the memory usage, other stuff. But let me change the display because I still think that you're looking at something else, right? Are you still looking at that, say, a nice display from Flight Simulator 2024? That might be the case, right? Because I needed to change my, in this case, my view. And now you should be able to see it. So this is the view, right? So let's see. These are the fixes, right? A lot of memory improvements, as you can see. So really interesting. Also performance optimization in texture for the boat and the bridges. Avoid freeze when mounting or unmounting packages. Fixed a lot of memory corruptions. And they fixed a potential crash and stutters using the FSR game generation on NVIDIA cards. So that's nice. In addition to that, there are a lot of general bug fixes. So a fix where the city and town names were missing. Their poise markers. That's the one which we already talked about. They fixed some input actions with mod up being active while a key not pressed. They fixed issues where the airport name was no longer displayed. They fixed an issue where the times flown around the world was not properly displayed. A lot of nice, would say, GUI fixes. Then specifically for the PlayStation 5, there's also a fix. Fixed an error that wrongly reported insufficient available storage. And there's another fix for the PlayStation 5 when toggling off HDR, also being fixed. Frame rate multiplier, always resets to 2, has been fixed. Other stuff which has been fixed, till numbers not displaying timer issues. Right here in the chat box wasn't properly localized. So likely if you're playing on, say, multiplayer, right, remove the weather panel humidity slider, since humidity is no longer used. Also interesting. Backwards compatibility, text size rendering for XML gouges, and then of course some aircraft updates. This one also contains a long list, right? So I'm gonna scroll to it. I'm not gonna go to all of it. There are some elevator trim fixes which will be reversed, right? For specific aircrafts, that's now being fixed. That's nice. Also had an issue. What do they else had? Let me go quickly to it. You can see the list is pretty long, right? Boeing 737 fixes. with a PFD, the autopilot. They fixed an issue with the toggle AI. Then the Cessna C408 Grand Caravan, they fixed the flight brightness, left aileron neutral, added dependencies, Cupcraft, Rex Cup. The de Havilland had an issue causing the liquid dropping to shut down. Then the DG 1001, they enabled full functionality on the web view profiler. That likely is only for developers, but maybe I'm wrong. Then they add some missing highlights in the yoke checklist, fixed gear compressions for the Diamond DA62. So pretty nice. What else did they fix? The aircraft core systems. They fixed a lot of SimVars. They fixed issues causing the aircraft using the bus lookup index. They fixed an issue causing name-based indices not to work properly for key events. This is really for key events, really when you press the event, press a key, for example. And also had some nice things such as the added batteries in the consumer list of suppliers and the added consumer list in the battery details in debug window. These are likely, some of them are, I would say, applicable for developers, some of them are not. Then they fixed the issue with the wear and tear, right? That could cause the flight surface to take damage while the aircraft was loading. Fuel system has been fixed, where a specific FSX fuel system was there, fixed fuel pump, add support for name-based, hydraulic systems are fixed for the helicopters, and also hydraulic rudder actuator to be inoperative if the hydraulic system either does not have an elevator actuator or that the actuator is not operative. Well, inoperative, same. Pneumatic things. And then we're coming to the glass cockpit, right? We're still, I'd say, going to the checklist for those who are just checking in. We can see the Garmin G1000. There was a heliport, so now displayed on the map correctly, and a G3 and 5000. There are a lot of things, right? The traffic avoidance warning system has been fixed. Some improperly issue on don't sync alert. Fixed an issue with the GTC nearest waypoint pages not displaying correctly. Then for the heliports are now included. Same thing as for the G1000. Various steps on the GTC airport information now display text with no data. And the GTC airport information now display correctly the heliport. Well, that's nice for those who love to fly on heliports. Then they are just destyling. They fixed an issue where in the rare case the FMS speed targets would not sometimes be applied correctly. Hovering over a waypoint was not working correctly. And then we're going to the Garmin G3X. Same fixes, although here you can see also fixes for the nearest waypoint. Interesting. The heliports are there, the waypoint information is there. They fixed incorrect volume to weight fuel conversation. The sunrise. And then we're already at the Primus ePIC 2.0. I know that I go super fast to this list, but likely most people are not interested in this and want to see it, how it works. Well, just wait a minute. We're gonna start soon. The fixed issue where the flight plan waypoints were not clickable. And some other fixes also with the GPWS alerts. Ground proximity warning alert was not removed. This was one I'm also faced during one of my videos, but that's now being fixed. Integrated avionics systems. For the Pro line, also a lot of fixes, right? You can see frequency data on multiple pages, correct interactions were there, CU paging indicator being wrong, the UNS SBA flight system, also some bugs which are being fixed, and then some physics. Physics, what they fix? Collision issues, aircraft engines are being fixed. Some of them are SDK things, so you will likely, well, you will, I say, see the results, but likely not directly. Then the EFB, also some fixes for the liquid tanks displays to indicate random numbers rather than the name. Warning in the mass system, balance when the aircraft is overloaded. And the EFB was not, which are EFB apps which are not compatible will currently load aircraft are now hidden. Okay. Then some fixed mass and balance empty tab to allow negative center of gravity. They fixed some language issues. They fixed the logbook not reloading. And then we're coming to some new behaviors or fixed behaviors. Because in sim update number 4 there was a new behavior. And that caused behavior code to still be running even when the current LOD does not contain the linked code. That's nice. And they added 2 buttons on the animation tab. This likely is for developers, I'm guessing. Then the gameplay itself. Well, the HC message repeats a high frequency. Well, you probably heard it because that will keep on going. And it allows you now, the player, to queue a message for sending in the HC panel. This is like new functionality. Then the HUD, is now affected by the accessibility minimum text option, and they fixed an issue with the HUD helicopter power indicator to limit the max power. They fixed some tooltips for the rudder trim, and then of course some career updates, because career updates are also, I would say, needed, because in some cases not correct, right? So improved messaging, fixed mission filtering, added new steps, changed the parking hold term system to be synced with GPP. And then we're coming to the general bug fixes. And this is again a long list, right? Aircraft selection flow, wrong weather information, hold short changing position, acknowledge handoff, steps remaining displayed, fix the character who are hovering or moving partially, fix special missions not hidden, mission steps panel title not being displayed. And this is really, I would say, enormous. Yeah, for the free flight, there were some, I'd say, fixes also. Right, the aircraft could spawn with the engine running instead of in cold and dark. That's what I didn't face, but hey, maybe you did. The fuel range has been fixed on the world map. Fixed player spawning on the wrong runway, also didn't have it. And the fixed wrong voice used for HC communication when AI radio is setting is disabled. Didn't encounter that one also. Some missions, they fixed some, they removed some things, and they, I would say, fixed some things with the excursion landing. And then specific, would say, mission fixes like the medevac, the flight seeing, the aerial firefighting, and search and rescue. You can see that they fixed some nice things over there. Scrolling down the list, we end up at the world and the airports. First of all, they fixed the roofs. They fixed the wave bridges in photogrammetry areas with strong wind, and they fixed breaks in thin water tile due to terraforming and the rock collisions with the aircraft. And for the airport specifics, there are also some fixes like the lightning has been fixed, the missing center line has been fixed, the aircraft popping in the world map. That's nice. And they removed also an option, the assisted joke is removed, and then VR. VR also contains a lot of fixes, so that's good. I'm not a VR, I would say, player, but if for those who are playing VR, you can see that there are now some fixes for the correct bindings. They also fix some issues with correct views, etc. So pretty interesting list. And then the camera dead zones are fixed. Controls which were fixed. Peripherals were fixed. And then the remapping, right? Which we already discussed in this video. They did some remapping. For me, it's not entirely clear what they did do with the remapping, but it looks like they changed some things. That's cool. Then some peripheral fixes. VR controllers or some other peripherals to distinguish them for gamepads. They fixed the conflict in the briefing. And then there are some new controls. So these new controls, you will likely need to set them up when you're playing on your, I would say, flight simulator. And these are the new fixes, like the helicopter throttle axis, the mixture axis relative, the propeller axis, spoiler axis, and the collective axis, all relative, are now being added. Not sure what they mean, but that's something which I would need to figure out later time. Then the activities, they fixed the missions also with the training missions. The photographer mode is now being fixed. The free flight, they added a new tag in the free flight aircraft selector on the aircraft recently purchased from the marketplace, and the player profile. That's mainly for the PlayStation 5 as far as I can see. And then we've got, of course, those dev mode fixes, and those dev mode fixes we will skip them because we're never going to them. So you can see it's a pretty long list, right? Also the JS API and the WASM API, which are causing a lot of issues, that's all being fixed now, so that's cool. So let me jump back to Flight Simulator, because hey, that's what you all expect me to look at, right? Flight Simulator 2024. So let's first hit start. In the release notes, we of course can see the release notes. Hopefully, in some cases, the beta version, they won't show up, right? As currently also they don't show up. That's already pretty interesting. So let's do some flying, right? Because that's what we said. So we're gonna use, in this case, we can use a PC-12, but let's start with the Cessna. Let's start with the Cessna 172 G1000 aircraft. And then let's see if we fly above New York, how that looks like. New York, right? Let's zoom into it. So what we're going to do is we're going to make it even worse. So we're going to take off from Kennedy Airport, because Kennedy Airport is a heavy airport. So let's see how that works. So I'm gonna get the controller. And then let's see if that works. Let's see if this works now with Flight Simulator 2024. Right, one thing I forgot to tell you is that I didn't change the DLSS version. So if you're using DLSS Swapper, you might need to do that again, right? Because if with a new update, with a new version, it's reverting back to the original version. And that's something which you might want to, let's say, kind of enhance, because you don't want to have that functionality. So let me go there. So what I'm also going to do is I'm going to switch on the game sound, because I do think it's more nicer, right? And it's also, let's say, but sometimes I switch it off because of the music which is in it, and then I will be penalized for that by YouTube because I shouldn't use it. So here we are. Let's first look around. So we're going to look around here. We're at, let's say, Kennedy, John F. Kennedy International Airport. You can see, let's say, I can move around without any, let's say, weird things. Then if I would say look to the left and right, that also works, would say, kind of cool, right? So don't see a lot of things there. So we're still good. Are we seeing some? No, that still looks pretty fine. So what we can do now is we can of course switch on the developer mode. Gonna show you how to do that. Again, right? Decide if you want to do it, because there also could be some, I would say, performance penalty. I'm gonna say display the FPS. And we're gonna live try it out. So here we are. So I'm gonna leave the dev mode. I will close it because it will save me some time or some performance. And let's see how it works. We're gonna go full throttle. Need to of course remove the park and brake because else it won't do much. So let me also let me also know what you want to see, right, in the comment box or in the chat box of this video. So it's currently set to live chat. So I'm also wondering, did you already tried it? So for those who are watching, let me know if you already tried it. So here we go. We're going airborne. Everybody's happy. Everybody's happy. That's good. Can still look around. You can see that the frames are climbing now, but that's kind of expected. So we're climbing with a stable rate. Can see that it's not bad, right? Not bad at all. You can do flaps up. And let's fly straight ahead, because that's where New York City is. So I'm really wondering how New York City looks like. You can see that, let's say, still being, let's say, kind of, let's say, limited by the main thread, not specifically by the, let's say, by the GPU. I'm also, by the way, using downloading, right? So I'm not flying using, I would say, cached content. No, I love flying, I would say, with downloaded content. You can see that it, would say, picks up. And if you look at the frames per second, it still is pretty interesting. So for those who are wondering, I've got a 4090 card, right? So enough, I'd say, memory. So if you're having a card which has less memory, then keep in mind that you might want to, say, kind of reduce the settings. Because that's also what I had prior to this card. I had the 2070, and that one also had performance, I would say, thingies. But with this 4090, it looks pretty promising, right? Also, if you look at the frames per second, right, I know that I'm flying on a low resolution, because that's likely what you will say, hey, you're only flying on 9020 by 1080, but hey, that's because I'm using it because then I can, say, show things more clearer in Flight Simulator. Normally I play full screen, but I've got a wide screen. Still trying to figure out, okay, hey, do I want to buy a 4K screen? But for now I've decided to keep it as is. So if we go outside the aircraft, let's see what happens. Because then you will see that it needs to load more, but even, I would say, with that, you saw it slowly in red, but still, it still is, I would say, I think it still was, I would say, pretty good. It's not that bad. Not that bad at all. Even if we look around like this, you can see that I would say there's the airport. Still pretty nice, right? So let's go inside the aircraft again. And while I'm flying, let's also say hello via the chat. So let's see. Let's see if people already tried it out. Because I'm really wondering, did anybody else already tried it out and what they think about it? Because I can say it works perfect, but maybe your experience is a little bit different. So we're climbing, I would say, so let me decrease the throttling because I think that we're at a good altitude. We're roughly at 3,000 feet, right? So that gets good enough. So what do we need to do else? Well, let's wait, right? We're almost to the city. And you can see the frames per second is kind of crazy. So I'm using DLSS for those who are, let's say, interested. Let's see how it works. Can look outside. Performance is still pretty good. Not too many weird things. Not too many. There could still be that they're coming, that the weird things are coming, but for now it's kind of stable. So with that, right? Let me see what happens. Do we see other stuff coming in? Do we see other weird things? Well, the aircraft is turning, but that's not weird because I didn't touch it. So let's see if we move around. We're coming closer to the city. And still the frames per second is still, say, pretty nice. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. So, while flying, right, you can see that everything is in the green zone. Nothing too bad. But that's likely also because we're, let's say, pretty high, right? So we're at a pretty high altitude. So let's see if we drop the altitude a bit. Let me test it. So let's see. We're gonna drop the speed a bit because then we also can decrease the altitude because we don't want to go in overspeed mode. So let's see. You can see that it's still is rebuilding the, let's say, the scenery, right? You saw it, let's say, maybe if you look very good, that it still is rebuilding those buildings. Which is, I would say, kind of interesting. So here we go. So let's go outside the aircraft. Doesn't look too bad, right? Looks pretty promising, to be honest. "108 frames above New York." Yes, it also should be available on Steam. Should be. Right, you can test it both. I'm using, I would say, the download version, right? I'm not using Steam. But should be also available on any platform as far as I understood. So it still goes pretty well. Let me decrease the speed further, right? Because we want to decrease the altitude. We want to decrease altitude so we can have a closer look at how it looks like. So if we decrease the altitude, what will happen? I'm really wondering. Going further down, right? Where we simply need to decrease the altitude. We need to decrease the altitude and see what's happening. Or what's going to happen, I should say. What do you think is gonna happen? Will the performance stay as good as it currently is? Or will it go really, between brackets, bad? No, let's figure out. Here we go. You can see that the main thread already starts to increase, right? You can also see that the frames per second starts to increase. So, say with that high altitude, it's of course really nice, but you can still see that the scenery is, I would say, pretty good. Let's see if we got some other people reacting. Did you already test it? I don't see other people test it yet. Let me know, did you already try it out, or are you even considering trying it out? Maybe you're not considering even to try it out. Then also let me know. So let me do a poll, right? Let's create some activity in this chat. So starting the poll as we speak. Here we go. Poll has been started. So slowly decreasing altitude while keeping an eye right on the on both the speed, but also on the altitude. So at 3,500, as you can see. Let me see if we use the Alt 1 option. It looks like it's only be specific for specific keyboards. Might also be that I've assigned different keys to it, so could also be that it's me. But here we go. Let me turn a little bit further. Now we're coming into the interesting area, right? There are all those high buildings from New York, and that in some cases results really in a high impact on the say on the flight simmer. Oh, and when you're not paying attention because you're reacting to someone, then some things will go weird, right? See, few people, so I'd say it's a mix, right? Currently, some people are, I'd say, are likely to try it. Some people are still, say, thinking if they would try it. I would always say be very careful with, because these betas sometimes have issues, right? Because that's why they beta test it. They simply want to test it to see how it performs, what other issues are encountered. They sometimes introduce some new things, and if they introduce new things, it will likely, I'd say, cause some new issues. At least that's what I saw in the past. They simply had some things. You can still see that performance-wise, it's if you ask me, it looks okay. Now we're going into that area. So what I'm gonna do is, of course, what you never should do in real life, but fly really low over those buildings and see how it looks like. So what I'm gonna do also is, I would say, go outside of the cockpit, because you can still see, right? It can smoothly move around. Now we're gonna look at the photogrammetry content, because that's always interesting to see how that looks like. I would say, yeah, photogrammetry content still sometimes looks really ugly, to be honest. So what's your opinion about the photogrammetry content? Let me know in the chat if you think it looks beautiful or it looks ugly. I sometimes have the idea that has to do with the bandwidth, to be honest, because in some cases where you fly over it again using the cache mode, although photogrammetry content is streamed, as far as I know, it looks better. But if you look in this building, it looks really weird, right? Because it almost looks like some parts are missing. Same thing for this one. But if you look at the frames per second, it does look pretty good, I would say. So this New York, right? Currently we're flying over New York, and I would say I'm pretty impressed. It still is, I would say, good. It's not too bad. You can see a lot of detail also. But maybe we should try another city, right? Should we try another city? Let me know via the chat. Should we move to London, to the UK? Or should we stay in the US? Right, if you move around, it looks pretty nice. Also, if I go inside the cockpit, I can simply use those other buttons if I would like to move around with my head. This looks smooth. I'd say with previous versions, this sometimes could cause me serious issues. And now I need to pay attention to it, right? Because I also am gonna, I would say, likely end up somewhere where I don't want to end. So let me increase the throttling. Because this is nice, but let's try something else, right? Let's move on, because this looks okay. But we all know that this is a Cessna, and the Cessna is nice. But what you do see, and what you will see, is that in some cases with a bigger aircraft, you will of course face more issues. So let's see if that works in this case. Hold on. See. So which aircraft are we gonna choose? So I'm gonna say ask you. So I'm gonna start a new poll. I'm gonna end the previous one. The previous one is there. Let me end it. So here are the results of the poll, right? So it's a little bit of a mix, right? 7 votes. People are not sure yet what to do. So let me say ask another question. Say, which aircraft should we use? And then we're going for a mix, right? We're going for a mix of aircrafts. This, by the way, also, I think this is a new view, right? You can see the green arrows and the other things, which are over here, the statistics. This is a new view, I think. At least I didn't see it before, but maybe I missed it. But I do think it's new. That's really cool. So let's say we're going for the Airbus. The Airbus A310, Airbus A320, and we're only going to use the default aircrafts. Although, let's also add the Airbus A320 from Phoenix, because that one is, let's say, a heavier one. Let me see what other ones we have, although a little bit the bigger ones, right? The more, let's say, difficult ones. I can try the Boeing also. What do you think? Boeing? The Boeing 777, 300 Echo Romeo from PMDG. And let's add the let's do a fighter, right? Let's do the FA-18E Hornet. So I posted the poll. Let me know which aircraft you think we should use. In the meantime, I'm gonna select an airport, and we're gonna move to Europe. We're gonna move to the UK. Yeah, see that longitude. Yeah, it also could be a one tone. We could also try to use that one. Then you mean the longitude CT4 or not? No, let's go to London, right? Because London is likely more heavy. Likely. I'm not 100% sure, but let's see. In the meantime, let me find it where I want to go to, because it's always challenging. South End. Here's London, right? Here's London, as you can see. Let's do Heathrow, because Heathrow is always nightmare. Then I'm waiting. I would say, do we already have more information about the poll? I don't see a lot of votes yet. So if I don't get any vote, then I will go. Then I will go for the for the longitude, right? So so give you a few minutes. No, not a few minutes. Only say one minute left, and then we're gonna do the longitude. This one, the Textron Aviation Cessna longitude, right? We're gonna take off from, in this case, London. So I'm gonna end the vote because nobody voted, and I don't want to spend too much time on waiting for this. We're gonna depart from runway 09 Lima. We're not gonna set up a flight plan, no. We're simply gonna fly VFR with the aircraft. Now it's dark. Is dark bad, or should we go into the light mode? I don't mind. Let's fly during the night. Flying during the night can also be, you say, pretty cool. So let's see how this ends up. Can still see that it's, so to say, kind of going well, right? It's not too bad. More than 70 frames per second. So we're good. Let me see if I can do this. Also trying to do something in between. Here we go. So we're in the aircraft. You can see it's pretty dark. Whoa, that was really cool view, right? We just had one aircraft above our head. And this is Cessna. The longitude. Oh, I need to set it correctly, of course. The longitude aircraft. So let's see. Let's see if that one works. So, shall we take off? Yes, why not? Whoa. Yeah, the weather also sounds really scary, to be honest. Maybe it's thunder and lightning. We didn't set up the V speed, right? We did everything wrong what we could do wrong. We didn't set up anything, but let's see how it works. So we're going airborne. Slowly. Let's go airborne. Here we go. And then, of course, we need to do the gears up, etc. But let's see how this one works. It's a little bit dark, right? In the cockpit. And remove that little bit. It's super dark. You can't see anything, as you can see. Then doing flaps up. And then push the nose a little bit down, because else we're going to go too far to climb too fast. Gears are still up. Whoa. Watch out what I'm doing. let's go outside, right? So this is how it looks like if you're flying far too high. You also hear that stuttering, right? Because we're climbing crazy fast. You can still see that it's, I would say, kind of pretty stable, right? Nothing really weird happens. Let me decrease the power a bit, because we're already pretty high. You can still see that it performs pretty well, to be honest. I'm not sure what you think about it, but it still goes pretty well. And then I need to watch out, of course, that I'm not gonna go too slow. So let's see if the autopilot works, right? Let's do some basic testing if that works. I do expect it to work, to be honest, but you never know. Sometimes things are breaking, sometimes not. If you're lucky, then let's say it works. If you're unlucky, then it doesn't work. You can see that the buttons are highlighting, so that's at least good. And then we can switch on the autopilot. And the autopilot, we didn't set up any altitude, right? So let's also do that. We're gonna decrease altitude because I want to fly low above London, right? We don't want to fly too high. And then we're gonna use the vertical speed. Let me find it over here and then say we want to decrease or climb rate to -500. And then we're gonna set the heading to a different area because we want to fly. Well, this is not really bad, right? So let's do that. Heading. Then we also can look outside. Yeah, the frames per second are pretty good. Keep in mind, I've got the 4090 card. Don't want to say kind of say bluff about it, but I've got the 4090 cards. I'm not sure which card you have, Teun, but keep that in mind. But it's, I would say, frames per second is, would say, cool, right? Even if you see a lot of clouds. Clouds are also impacting the performance. And I would say I'm also surprised by how good it works. Crazy good. 70 frames. You can see they were mainly limited by the main thread, right? Which means CPU. So there's something is limiting the CPU. But I'm not too, let's say, worried about that anymore, to be honest. That still is that they likely need to spread the, I would say, CPU load a little bit more about, on the CPUs. Because if you would, I would say, look at the CPUs, right? Let's do that. Maybe you can't see it because I know that Flight Simulator is in front, but if you look at the performance, let's say and then focus on the CPUs, right, they're really doing nothing almost. Say it's not, say, if I press the CPU, you can see, although it's pretty equally balanced, I must say. Better than previously. So still pretty interesting to see. In the past, it was really that CPU 0, right? Did that main or the main things to do, but it looks like that they made some improvements again. Still was funny that you see that if you enable that view, that it directly impacts it. Or you also have 4090. Then it should also work pretty good for you, Teun. So we're going to the clouds. Also this, if you look at this, it also looks pretty interesting. Still have those landing lights on, right? So let's go inside and then see if we need to switch them off. And likely we need to switch on the pulse. Still looks pretty nice. But let's do something else, right? Because we want to see how London looks like. At least I am really wondering how it looks like, but I of course completely forgot where we fly. So let's use the flight planner, because it's always a good test, because there are of course a lot of things. Well, as you can see, we're going completely in the wrong direction. For those who are wondering how to get these views, right, you can switch on the map settings, and that's where you can change, for example, the weather radar. You can switch it on or off. That will make this view possible. So pretty interesting. So we're gonna fly to Echo Golf Lima Lima, which is, well, at least we can fly to that. You can see that we're going crazy fast, right? Why are we going crazy fast, by the way? Of course, probably because I forgot to switch on the auto throttling. Oh, it's switched on, right? Yeah, now it's decreasing speed. So that's good. Let me do something. Accept initialization. Yeah, I know that they didn't do that, but that's not an issue for now. Direct to, then I press nearest. No, we don't want to go to these airports. Southampton, Heathrow. I was searching for London City. Let me go back. Where is London City? Who knows where? Who knows the ICAO code of London City? Question for you. Let me find it. Let me find it while I'm talking. London City ICAO code. I think it was EGLC. Yeah, that was the one. Can we select it? No. Let me go home and then do the flight plan. Then say a destination. And then type it like this. EGO. Cancel. EGLC. And now we can say direct to and then do it like this. Activate. And then we can switch on the nav mode. Let's do that. Because now the aircraft will turn the other way around, right? We're flying, let's say, pretty fast, I admit. But it works. Egocentrics? What do you mean with that tone? So let's see. Let's see. You can see the weather is really bad, right? The weather is really, it's... Maybe I should adjust it. Although, maybe we should simply decrease the altitude. Let's do that. Let's fly 2000. Or not to that one. You can see that this part, right? It's normally what you would do is you would change it very slowish, but you can see that this part, I would say, yeah, it works, but it's not, I would say, the way you would like to see it working. But we're still descending. Didn't pay attention to that. Here we can see another airport. So it still looks pretty nice. Oh, no problem, Tone. No problem. Let's see. So we can look outside, we can see lights. What do you guys think? Do you think that the lights have improved? Is it good? Is it not good? I would say I'm not sure if it has improved, but it doesn't look really bad. I would say I've seen worse. Let's keep it that way. Or is it me? Am I simply too nice for them? No, I'm not too nice to them, right? So let's see where we are. We're flying into the direction to London City because I want to see how London City looks like. Right, you can currently see that the weather is really bad. It's really a lot of fog. So we of course could try one thing, and that simply is changing the weather, right? Because we might want to see, I would say, a little bit more clear weather. So let's change it to, let's say, custom, and then say, hey, it is, in this case, not real-time weather. Clear skies, that's fine for me. Because I want to see how it looks like. So this is how it looks like without any clouds. I think it still looks pretty nice. A lot of cool things over here. Is it what you would expect? I'm wondering. Let me see. But I think it's really cool, to be honest. What do you think? Did you already try it out yourself? Flight Simulator 2024, sim update number 5, beta. Because we're still looking at the beta version, right? We're not looking at the active version. We're looking at the beta version because the active version that needs to be, I would say, that still needs to be, I would say, released. So don't expect me to show the real version. This is the beta version again. For those who are watching, no, sim update number 5 is not released yet. This is still the beta version which you have or can have, and you can have it by simply subscribing to the beta, and then you can live test it. But again, it's up to you if you want to test it. So it's not mandatory to test it, but it's always fun to test it. I always like to do it. Let's see if we got what I see at the moment. Still needs a better FPS, further no difference. Yeah, I was thinking that the lights are better, but I'm not 100% sure about that because, let's say, it looks good, but I'm not sure if it's indeed 100% better. But let me also have a look at the release notes, right? The release notes, if you want to see them, you can go to the, would say, Flight Simulator community. You need to subscribe to the beta because else you can't see them. And there you will find the sim update number 5 beta release notes. There is something about the new mapping which they introduced, but to be honest, I wasn't able to do some testing with that because I pressed the keys, but in my case it didn't work 100% correctly. So what else can we look at, right? Because there's some new functionality, but to be honest, that's a little bit hard to show you. The reason for that is that it simply is, let's say, really specific. But let me see, right? We're now flying, say, close to London City, at least. Let me have a look at where we are. That's the nice thing, all right? You can check here. Because we really did fly complete detour, to be honest. Because I was flying into the incorrect direction. So let me press home and then let's go to the flight plan. This is the one I selected, right? Activate. It's kind of weird. Oh, here we are, right? So it's we're 9 minutes out. We're 9 minutes out. If we look at the, let's say, GPU memory, you can also see it's pretty stable. That's also what you sometimes read, is that it's, let's say, climbing up I'd say a lot until you hit an issue. And that specifically is with when you're flying for a long time. Now, are we flying for a long time? I don't think we're flying, I would say, too long yet, but we're still, say, flying already for, let's say, well, roughly 10 minutes, maybe even longer. But it's still, say, looks promising. But while we're flying, let's see if we can spot some other changes, maybe in the EFB or something. Maybe they changed some things which they didn't tell us, because it's always interesting. Let me go to the EFB, in this case, in the release notes, to see if they changed something over there. They fixed a lot of issues. That's good. They added the pressure setting. Well, the added pressure setting, that's likely then with the aircraft itself. So we're going to go to the aircraft. This is not changed at all, to be honest. Right. Let me also change the size of the EFB, because it's currently a little bit too small. So now you would be able to see it a little bit better. Here we go. Go to the aircraft. I don't see much things here. Let me check the flight performance, because there should be something in here. At least that's what I would expect. I'm not sure what you would expect, but I would expect added the pressure setting. Did they change it over here? No, I don't see it yet. Also not here. So that's, let's say, I'm kind of puzzled where it is. Maybe in the environment it is. Also not here. You can see this was already there, right? There's nothing new over here. Where could they have added this part? Maybe in the flight planner? Could be. Performance wise, maybe. Cruise speed, step size. Now also here there's, I would say, I don't see a lot of changes in here, to be honest. But maybe they did hide it somewhere else. Maybe in the payload and view. No. But again, maybe it's me. They also enhanced the rain visuals in the EFB. Well, we currently said we just moved it to another, I would say, to another weather, right? We just set it to clear skies. So likely we won't be able to test that now, but we can test it, of course, really fast by changing the weather again to be the real live weather. And now you will see things happening, right? This really nice view where you can see the also the radar really nicely displayed. For those who don't know where to change it, right? You can do that. Click on the map settings, and that's where you can change these things. For some reason, the rest of it is still disabled, but I do think that they will change it somewhere in the near future. I'm not sure, of course, when, but they, for now, you can only switch it on or off. Maybe it's also because I switched this one on. No, right? You can see that all grayed out. But I'm not sure when, but they will likely release a future update where you can add these nice things. So it's pretty interesting. Let's see what happens with the aircraft. Still autopilot, so still we're good. So where are we? We're 19 nautical miles from Heathrow. 19. I see number of users dropping, right? Because they're likely to, it's taking too long, right? I know it's taking too long before we are at, in this case, Heathrow Airport. What can we also do? Well, we can look at the reloading of the new statistics until restarting the game, right? So there was an issue with loading the aircraft pilot book. So if we do that, we can click on this one. Well, it goes pretty quick. 3 flights. I've got the feeling that this is quicker. But maybe that's purely the feeling. But I do think that it's nicer. And then they also fixed an issue with the balance, right? The balance is over here, where you go to the flight performance. In this part, you can set the center of gravity. And here it says that there's a fix the mass and balance empty tab to allow negative center of gravity. Not sure where to do that, to be honest. Well, let's leave it as is. Other things. Did they change something in the longitude? Let's double check. No, in the longitude specifically, they didn't change anything. But here you can see we're coming closer to London, right? We're coming closer to London. So let's see how this works out, because London again is a pretty heavy, scenery in most cases. So we're 30 miles from London City. So here you can already see some parts of the city. You can see some high towers, etc. Really cool. But let's see how this works out. Yeah, the main thread. Oleg, I see the same thing. But I do think that's not really worrying, to be honest. I do think that there's still some optimization required. And the main thread, if the main thread is really hammering your machine, what you will also likely see is that it starts to kind of, I would say, stutter, right? And I'm not having the stutter. I'm not sure if you also don't have stutters, but for me it's pretty stable as we speak. So let me know, watchers, what are other things you want to see? Because I'm flying around, but if you want me to test something, let me know via the chat, because I'm keeping an eye on the chat. We're already live more than 1 hour. We had some delay with getting the update, but I would say as soon as those forum posts popped up, you saw it was coming alive really easy, as you could see, because we were just able to, say, download it, say, pretty recent for decent speed. So what do we see here, right? So we do see here London, and if you look at this, boy, you saw some scenery reloading, right? That was not the nicest experience, but overall it still looks, let's say, frames per second, pretty good, right? Do we see some other things happening? Do we see some stuttering? Well, not yet, but hey, we're at London, right? So maybe it will start to happen very soon, because London is a pretty heavy city, just like New York City, which we already visited. Of course, we're also going to try some other aircrafts, right? Because this simply, let's say, it might be an easy test, but maybe we should jump to, for example, Paris Charles de Gaulle or something, or maybe one of the other ports. Which airport should we try next? Let me type it in. Or should we maybe change to a complete different, I would say, maybe game mode? Let's see. So there's Canary Wharf, right? Canary Wharf also pretty nice. Here we can see there's the Tower Bridge behind us. It still looks nice. Maybe we should do something different, because I think this is proven to be, say, pretty stable. So let's do something else. So we're going to go to the main menu, and then we're going to do something heavy. And with something heavy, I really mean something heavy. So let's change the weather conditions. Let's make sure that they're on live weather again, because that's what I always love. Then the rest is, let's say, switch to live weather like this. And then we're going to switch to a heavier aircraft. So we're going to do it, I would say, really with the, in this case, what shall we try? What shall we try? Shall we use the PMDG, or should we use the, I would say, A320 from Phoenix? I'm figuring out. What should we try? It's kind of pretty funny, this. This is comparing it with the previous aircraft. You see, as it looks like. So if we would select the this one, it should all be higher. Well, the speed is lower. I think they added this new view, so you can compare it. Let me check if it's in the release note. It's a view which they likely changed or something. Statistics. No, I'm not sure if it's new, but to me it looks new. But let's I would say let's not let's stop telling, right? So let's Shall we use the PMDG? Well, let's give it a try. Then we're gonna park the aircraft on a very heavy airport. I think that since we're at, I would say, since California received an update, let's set the aircraft on Los Angeles. Then we're gonna set it at the runway. And then we're gonna simply press flight now. We're not gonna put in, let me put it here. So let's see how this one works. Everything is still green, as you can see, but that's so say okay. Also checking the other things if there's something interesting which we could test. Maybe we should try one of those other modes, right? One of those other modes. I think loading here is, would say, taking longer, but that could be due to the PMDG one. I can still see that the, I would say, memory is still roughly 30 gigs of physical memory and then 8.6 for GPU. So let's see how long it takes. In some cases it takes some more time, right? So that could be the case, but if that happens, then it's, would say, not too bad, to be honest. So let's see how that works out. In this case, let me switch off the game sound for now, because I also would say likely we were penalized due to the music which is in the game. And then we will switch it on while we're flying, of course. Takes long, right? I don't like to wait long. I'm not sure how this with you, but I really don't like to wait long. So what sometimes helps, is simply reselecting it and then retrying it again. So we're gonna go to, in this case, Los Angeles International. It's already there, and then say start flight. Let's try it again. Let's see how this works. You can see that the frames per second was now heavily affected. You saw it happening, right? But still, it's okay. I would say I still like it. I think it's not too bad. Here we go. Finally, now we can test it. Now I think, was say Nathan, I think both Teun and me agree that it's pretty good. Pretty good, and I would say, I'm not sure which GPU you have, but for me it wasn't that bad already prior to sim update number 5. We're now using the PMDG, so that will likely have a more heavier impact. Also, here you see something weird, right? So this happens with the PMDG. So it's, I think the PMDG might be completely screwed if you look at this. You can see this is really not good. So let me restart it again. Let me restart and let's see. Hopefully it's good. So if we spawn the PMDG from the runway, I would say it's all, well, it's unusable, I would say. So hopefully the free flight loading mode goes well. Here we go. You can also see that the engines are not running. That already asks for an issue. Yeah. You can see that the flaps are moving. Oh, here, now it comes to life. So let me switch on the game sound again. And here we go. So again, don't ask me why I don't follow the procedures, but I simply want to see how the performance is. So currently it's at 75, that's with the PMDG, right? We're flying the PMDG, this one with the American, with the American airline livery. So let's see how it works. Let me make sure that everything is good. I think it is. So let me move out the mouse cursor because that's likely not what you want to see. And then let's go full throttle. Did I forget to release the parking brakes? Yes. Come on. Oh. I didn't forget it. No, it's good. Simply didn't react to what I wanted. So 70 frames. Right, you can still see that the main frames or the main thread is being affected the most, but again, that might be expected. Even if we watch out the window now, not too bad, right? Above 60 frames per second. Pull back the stick. Oh, we were lucky, right? Because there was another aircraft. Not too bad. Let's see. Let's switch on the autopilot. Oh, we likely need to decrease the throttle. I didn't have time yet to connect my new joystick, so do you have more? GPU is a 4090. I think I've got a 1000-watt power supply, but let me check that because I'm not 100% sure. Can check that. Need to figure out the invoice from the device, but let me do that for you. Let me do that for you because now I also want to know. Also share your, let's say, system specs, right? Because I'm also curious what system specs you have. Now I need to look at when I ordered it because it was a while ago. It was prior to the release of Flight Simulator 2024. So let me have a look at the Jeep. Come on. What's the power? The PSU, sorry. PSU, yeah. Come on. Now found it, but now I need to look it up. Let's see. I've got the 12. So I'll paste it in the chat. Did I already post in the chat? No, sorry. Just hit enter. Yeah, it's a lot of watts, but I think I'm not sure what the minimum requirement for the 4090 is, but I think it's a pretty high. Because the 4090 only is if I'm correct, but keep me honest. It says that the minimum requirements are really 450 watts or something. It's pretty high. But yeah, it works. And keep in mind that's the peak, right? It doesn't use it continuously. Also, I'd say this is the PNG, right? So I think frames per second is pretty good. Keep in mind that I'm using, I would say, kind of a low, resolution, right? I'm using the render 1280 by 720 and 9020 by 1080. So what I of course could try is switch off DLSS and see what happens then. Let's do that. Let's switch off DLSS, right? Let's do that. So we're gonna use, in this case, we're gonna move to TAA. And then confirm it and then see how that works. I'm gonna accept the values. I'm not gonna change the resolution for now. And the reason for that is because else it will be very small on your screens. And that's of course not what I want. Right, so here's what happens with TAA. I think TAA is also not that bad, to be honest. It's pretty good. With TAA, the advantage with TAA, everything is, I would say, especially in the cockpit, with the glass cockpits, it's much sharper. Especially if you fly in the Cessna, you will sometimes see some, say, kind of vague, I would say, thing behind it. Also, when you're flying with the aircraft, you sometimes see kind of, I'd say, a fuzz behind the wings. And with TAA, that's not the case. So I still think it's pretty good. Also, memory-wise, it's not too bad, to be honest. Also, GPU memory is 12 gigs, which is also good. I know that in the past it was much higher, but maybe that's, I would say, only when I was frame gen. Well, let's have a look at it, right? Let's have a look at frame generation. Frame generation. We're now using TAA, right? Temporary. Yeah, TAA is currently switched on. Then the rest of the settings is, let's say, as is. You want me to try something, Nathan? Let me know, then I can change it. You can see that I kept the frame rate, max rate, I switched it off. Render scaling is switched on, right? It's set to 100, which is, in that case, I would say, makes sense. We can kind of blow it up. So I'm asking Nathan which setting he wants me to change, because I'm happy to change things. Right, the frame rate target is what it has. Why did I set it this low? I can even set it to 60, right? Easily. You can even set it higher. Yeah, I switched it to TAA. No, why should I say FSR is for NVIDIA cards, right? Oh, for AMD 3. You can see that it's still, if you ask me, it's crazy good. Even though it's moving around, let's look at this. Okay, interesting. Should we try it? Chatting with Nathan. Nice to see some interaction there. So let's try another aircraft. Let's go to the main menu. Let's go to the main menu and let's try the Phoenix, because the Phoenix is also a heavy one. Oh, 3070. Okay, well, it's not too bad, right? I had a 2070 before, and then last time I decided, a while ago, I decided to spend a crazy amount of money on this card, because it still is, I would say, crazy, right? Price are, I would say, still pretty high. They're flying the X-Men. He asked me, okay, do you suggest to jump to the beta? It depends. And again, it depends on what you prefer. If you prefer stable flight simulator, although stable, I would say, I know that I will have some people who are now starting to laugh very hard. Then I might say, okay, hey, don't try it. But on the other end, with Flight Simulator 2024, the reinstalling is done pretty fast, right? Because you simply go back and then let's say you're good. So which airport should we use? Since I'm seeing a lot of Dutch people, should we try Eham? Asking the watchers, right? Let's see what they think. I think we should give it the A320 from Phoenix, which is a nice aircraft. If you love to fly with the, I would say with an A320, and if you have budget, and if you're considering buying a new aircraft, then spend your money on the Phoenix, because I think the Phoenix is, I would say, really next level. Of course, there are also the freeware versions, right? The ones from Fly-by-Wire, also super nice. This is the only irritating thing you need to sign in every time. It's some kind of validation check that you own the aircraft. That's, I would say, and it pops up once in a while. Validate. Let's go for it. Let's go for Schiphol Airport or Amsterdam Airport, depending on what you prefer. The next question is, should we fly during night or day? Let's keep the interaction coming. As you can still see, it's really cloudy, right? It's not the most nicest weather here in the Netherlands. But let's wait. Let's wait for the people to react. The nice thing is that I also have the wing sim, or the wing control is now officially called MCDU, so I can also use the MCDU. Yeah, day. Let's try the day, right? So let's change the settings over here. Always nice to see. Let's do it like this. So we're gonna go back in time with Flight Simulator. Really cool. Let's go inside the cockpit. As you can see, can move around still. The frames is 80 frames, 85. We're using, by the way, we also need to change the video settings, right? So let's do that. So it's currently on TAA. Let's go crazy. Let's try off and then see what happens. Then you see it really being impacted. Oh, it comes back. It comes back. Not too bad. Not too bad. So ready to take off? Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, likely because we didn't set up any flaps or any config, nothing. But yeah, I don't want to do that. So keep your eyes, say, closed, because this is likely not what you want to hear. But hey, I didn't spend time to set up the aircraft correctly, right? That's normally what you would do, of course. So this is, ladies and gentlemen, without any frame generation, nothing. Here you can see that it stutters, right? So it starts to stutter and starts to, say, act weird. So likely we want to, say, kind of adjust it. Let's first switch on the autopilot. You can see that it's kind of, well, we're now at 75 here, but you can see that these things are hit, right? So now let's simply switch to TAA and see what happens. TAA, because the other one's for AMD. So can still try it, but I don't think it makes sense, but could be. You can see that this one is more heavy, to be honest. Right? But this could also be aircraft specifically. So this aircraft is pretty heavy, as you can see. Now let's have a look at it. Right, let's have a look at the settings. So Nathan, you're the captain for the settings. Let me know which setting you want to see, which setting you want me to change. So these are the frames, right? If we scroll down, if it allows us to scroll down. Oh, this is also what they changed, by the way. This new setting. We discovered a new setting. They moved this to this part because previously it was down the list. But these are the settings, right? So not everything is on, I would say, ultra. On the visual effects, the white, this is on low. And also the characters are on medium, but the rest is all on, let's say, ultra. So this is a change. So they now changed this part. So let's hit escape. Frame generation, yeah, it's currently switched on, but I can also switch it off. I can say no frames. This was likely what you meant, right? So let's see. Because now I switched on TAA, but without that one. And now you see it's this aircraft is really, I would say, a heavy one, right? So watch out with this one. You can see now it goes really weird with this. So the Phoenix, keep in mind, it's an aircraft which requires a lot of performance from your machine. But let's switch back, right? Let's switch back to DLSS and then DLSS. Let me see. Super resolution, and then say, okay, hey, I want to DSS quality, and then frame generation. I will set it to also DLSS. Let's see. Look at the difference now. Let's see if there is some difference. It already improved, but you can still see that this aircraft is likely hammering some main threads. So maybe there's some optimization required for the CPU. Although now it's get a little bit lighter, as you can see. But this one is, let's say, still crazy. Come on. I don't want to hear the error. Yeah. Now it starts to rebuild, right? So it's pretty cool. Should we now try a smaller aircraft? So I'm asking the people in the chat. Let's see. Let's see if we can do it a little bit without, say, lower altitude. Let me also, by the way, because I completely forgot what else we should test. I think we're mainly testing everything, right? There was the C408, the courier aircraft, which, well, had a specific bug, but that's likely is, would say, something with the controls, which is hard to, would say, prove. A speedmonger, well, pretty decent. So let's choose another aircraft. Let's choose a different one. I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna turn off the sound a little bit. And we're gonna take off from Amsterdam airport. But we're gonna use different aircraft. Or should we try something completely different? Let's use this helicopter, right? Let's use a helicopter to fly. Is there a heliport on Schiphol? Yes, there is. So let's see. We're still good to go. Well, let's change it to the day again, right? Because I forgot to do that. Let's switch it to day settings. Here we go. Let's see. Here we go. With the helicopter. You saw some weird things happening there, right? You saw some blurry view there. See a lot of aircrafts, right? Around us. The Schiphol with a lot of construction work. Let's fly to the city of Amsterdam. Let's switch on the audio also for the aircraft. Let's switch to the outside, to the external view. Right, Hawkins heli tours. So we brought Stranger Things to Amsterdam. I would have expected that the helicopter would start here, because here you've got those, would say, Mercy Service helicopters normally. Here we can see all those hangars with all those other aircrafts from KLM and Transavia. Also trying to answer some people in the chat, but yes, the performance, it looks like it has improved. So we tried New York City, we tried London during the evening, and then I would say with a lot of clouds, and even then the performance was still okay. What I see with some of the helicopters, since we're now playing already for some time, it looks like that, I would say, not sure what's happened, but it has dropped. It was higher. It was really hitting the 70 frames plus easily. And it looks like that since we played around with the settings, which likely we shouldn't have done, it has decreased a bit. So we're flying. Here we go, right? So this is we're flying over the city of Amsterdam. You can see that, say, I'm not sure, but to me, you do see that it's more impacted for some reason. So we're flying now for some time, and it looks like, I'm not sure what if it is caused by the fact that we, say, kind of played around with the video settings. So let me double check. Right, did I put everything correct? Let me check it back, because now I'm starting to doubt. No, we've set this to this settings, right? So super good. Set for quality. You can also set it to ultra performance, right? But maybe I switched to DLA. Maybe that was the thing I switched on. Maybe that's the thing I forgot to set back. Let's also go inside. You can see that, no, I'd say, not sure what it is, but it looks like something is brewing. Since we're now flying, I would say, a pretty extensive time. Maybe that's causing the trigger, I'm not sure. Or it's this helicopter, right? Could also be. Good size for the rolling cache. Yeah, that's hard to say. It really depends. I would say you can see that currently the scenery is being built up, right? So the scenery is really also, you can see that, say, Flight Simulator doesn't like it for some reason, because it's, if you look at those buildings look really ugly. Like if we go outside. Oh, now it's better, but it didn't look that nice. Oh, I know what we changed. We changed the frames per second, right? That also is a thing, right? So if you look at the settings, you can go set the target frames per second. If you say like this, you can set it to 30 frames per second. And we also changed that setting. That likely is, would say, also cause, does it cause a lot of things? No, sorry, I thought it was. Yeah, I didn't download anything. So as long as your internet speed is good, it still is. So I'd say it's still good. But you can still see that the ships, well, that's an issue which I didn't fix. Because if this happens with a ship, well, then I knew what was on the, I would say, 24 hours a day on the news. So you can see that the ships are still not fixed. That's, I would say that's a pity, right? Because I would say the idea that they added the ships was, I would say, pretty nice. But it looks like that, I would say, this is not that good. I'm wondering when they're gonna fix that. Frames per second. Let's climb a little bit higher, right? If you climb higher, then the frames per second will be better. And I think I've kept the default rolling cache, right? I'm not using rolling cache a lot. There are some people who say that you need to reset it regularly. I also tried the streaming version versus the downloaded, versus streaming. But keep in mind that even if you download everything, you're still streaming, right? So that's, I would say, something which you need to be aware of. So what I did some testing. Watch at my channel because there are multiple videos about that. For me, streaming was even behaving better than, I would say, downloading for some reason. You can see now the frames per second are climbing, right? That's due to the fact that we're now flying a higher altitude, right? Then it doesn't need to load all the details, and then it goes, let's say, a lot better. So let's do crazy. Let's make a dive. So we can have a look at the quality of the it's kind of weird, right? Because now you can see it's, let's say, it's not that bad. It's 30 frames. But this is really for people who love flying VFR. But here you can see the quality is really crap, right? Because it simply doesn't load all the scenery. Maybe more people are starting to play. I'm not sure. Some people even say that without photogrammetry it looks better. So that could also be an option you, of course, could try. So let's try something else, right? Let's go rogue. Let's do some of the other gaming modes. So you've got those challenges. If you didn't try it yet, then this is really some fun. Because there are multiple challenges. There's the precision landing in this case. There's the low altitude Grand Canyon, and there's the rally race Mac loop. Well, let's go for the low altitude in this case, and let's see how this works. Because this is with a fast jet, so I'm also wondering how that works. Besides that, the Red Bull Air Race. If you didn't try it out, I would say do it simply for fun. Simply for fun, give it a try and see what works for you. So let's see. And I do think that that's also the last part we're going to try, right? We're almost streaming for almost 2 hours now. We tried a lot of things. We tried New York, we tried London, we tried Amsterdam, we tried, I would say, from Cessna 172, we tried the A320 from Phoenix, the PMDG aircraft, we tried it. What did we try else? Well, this FA-18 Hornet, we're gonna try it as we speak. We did fly pretty high, pretty low. We did fly Stranger Things helicopters above Amsterdam Airport and above the city of Amsterdam. So really nice. But let's see how this one looks like, because I'm really curious about if this works. This is the low altitude Grand Canyon challenge. If you love challenges and if you love to fly with jets, then this one is really something which you can put on your list, because it adds some fun. So let's see how that one works. So why don't we, in the meantime, I'm simply looking at the 4R, right? Let's see if people are reacting. Discord required. No. Not a lot of feedback. Oh, somebody reporting 4 crashes already. Flight Simulator, the marketplace filters are broken. Well, I think that the marketplace filters are already broken for a very long time, to be honest. Started challenge. Yeah, it's hard to say for me if the VRAM is lower than normal, because I normally don't pay any attention to it. Because the 4090 has 24 gigs, so I've never hit that maximum. So let's see, the goal is over there, right? So we're flying low altitude. Let's see how this one works. Ooh. Some stuttering. You saw it? Not too bad still, but some. Still pretty cool, this game mode, if you ask me. Whoa, whoa. Yeah, likely we're far too high, right? We're flying faster, but I would say it's not that good, to be honest. Good is not always the best way to fly here. Oh, no, 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 no. We're gonna crash into the mountain. Oh, that was really bad. Back on track, right? So now we're screwed. This is what I also not play a lot, right, to be honest, because I love more flying with VFR or Flyplan using one of those larger jets. I want to see, okay, if this works well. You can see that the, I would say, scenery is loading, I'd say, pretty fast. Crashing again. Shouldn't try this, right? Shouldn't give this a try. It's not the best way to do. If you got any hints on how you can improve this, then let me know, because I'm still curious how people get that many points with this part of the game. Maybe we should fly over the water or something. And you can hear this scenery looks really blurry. And then it's fixed again. Right, I'm downloading content. I'm not downloading any content. I'm simply using the streaming. And this was better in the past, to be honest. Just with the finish, let's say close to the finish, we crashed. Thanks for the tip, Jade. Well, we succeeded, but was it good? I don't think it was, to be honest. Well, I'm still second, but that is likely due to the fact that this is a limited list because of the beta testers. Let me give it one more try. Let's follow the tip from Jade. Right, so we're almost at 2 hours, and I've already planned to do maximum 2 hours, right? Because simply we tested a lot of things, or several things, not a lot. We discovered some things. So for those who are just tuning in, there are some changes in the controls menu for the GPU, where you can kind of, let's say, change your advanced settings, right? All the settings to ultra, that's now moved to a separate menu. So that's pretty nice. Besides that, there were some changes in the EFB, but we're not able to figure out what they actually changed, to be honest. But hey, maybe I missed it. Maybe I overlooked it, but I didn't see that many changes, to be honest. So here we go. Oh, we're gonna crash into the mountain. Oh, shouldn't have done that. So what did we discover else? Frames per second is, I would say, pretty good. Even with a lot of clouds, it stays pretty stable. Using, I would say, multiple aircrafts, right? We tried the PMDG, so also the third-party aircrafts. However, with the PMDG, we also had an issue with that, I would say, with the controls initially, where we needed to restart the game. And once we restarted, it worked, I would say, pretty okay. Then it restarted the controls, and then all the controls were in, I would say, good spot. And then we could, I would say, try it again. Yeah, when will the final... Well, good question on Antonelli, or on Anthony. I'm not sure if I pronounced your name correctly. If not, sorry for that. I'm not sure when it will be released final, because I'd say this is the first beta which they're releasing, and as you can remember with Sim Update number 4 beta, it took months before they released the final version. So I don't expect, to be honest, that it will be available, I'll say, soonish. Yeah, shortly before the release of Sim Update number 6. Yeah, that's a funny joke. Yeah, that's likely is, I would say, the only answer which I would say is true. Nobody knows. No, indeed. I do expect that we can expect multiple Sim Update builds before they finally go public with the GA version. It also depends, of course, on the feedback. But yeah, since it has, I would say, been released, I would say just maybe 2 hours ago, I'm not sure on what the, let's say, feedback will be. In most cases, what you will see is that there was a lot of feedback from the community, and that if that's the case, they will first fix those issues, right? I'm flying far too high, I know. I'm also trying to, say, kind of de-accelerate the aircraft, but I'm simply not good in these kind of things. Not good in this mode, right? I can reduce time, but I can't really fly low. So here we go. Oh, it's still fun. Well, we at least succeeded. So we succeeded, that's good. And now we're on top. Lucky us. We should make a picture of this, because likely we will be, I would say, defeated pretty soon. What else can we try? Should we try something else? Stranger Things? No, I don't think so. Let's go to the Challenge League. No, not Challenge League. I want to go to the no, also not to the career mode. I want to do something else. Yeah, Jade, you're 100% correct. Sim Update number 4, I think it was the longest Sim Update beta which was running ever and ever and ever. It took so much time before they finally released it. At one point, everybody was thinking, okay, will they ever release it? But yes, eventually they released it, which is good. But hey, let's see. So if you did not read the release notes, they're available on the Flight Sim community forum, so you can read them. Here are, of course, I would say, a lot of other cool things, but I'm not going to look at this because I was thinking about to close off with the Red Bull Air Race mode. Let me find it. It's in the activities menu. Let's do Red Bull Air Race, slot 1. And then let's do Abu Dhabi. And then let's see if we can start the challenge. So I'm seeing a lot of people asking for the video RAM, but it's roughly, it's averaged, I think it's 12 gigabyte on average, which is not that bad. But yeah, if you've got a card with, I would say, less memory, well, then you need to turn down your settings, because I'm, as already shown, I'm using pretty high settings. I'm using, at least I think it is high. I can't compare it because there might be people even with higher settings. Yeah, I've got the 4090. So yeah, RTX 3080 should still be doing good, but maybe you should turn down the settings a bit. So currently it's loading. As you can see, this is the last one we're gonna do. Just to say, just made the decision. Let's see how this one works. Red Bull Air Race, always fun to try it out. It's not the most advanced mod, but look at the water. It looks so cool. And here you can see also, here you just saw what happens with DLSS, right? Smoke in your face. Whoa, missed the gate. No, we're gonna crash. Too high, also not good. Yeah, so you can indeed subscribe to the beta, and then you can try it and then unsubscribe if you don't want to participate. Then the only, between brackets, the only thing which you need to do is uninstall. And uninstall is relatively easy, except if you download all the content, because you also need to download all the content. There are some workarounds that you can safeguard the say content folder, but in some cases they make some changes to the content as part of the sim update. I'm not sure if they did this time, but if that's the case, then you would need to re-download all the stuff also. So keep that in mind. And with this, we're at the end of this live stream. Almost streamed 2 hours. Well, no, we did more. 2 hours and 3 minutes. So I hope you liked it. I would say keep the conversation going, right? Have a look at my community. I also have a Discord community. Let me know what you think about sim update number 5. I really encourage you to join that one, because it's so super cool to see, I would say, all the conversations going. Yeah, you download all the content. Yeah, full reinstall, leaving the beta, right? So that's indeed the downside. So keep the conversations going. For now, I want to thank all my watchers for viewing and say giving feedback, asking questions. Really cool that you looked at this live stream. See more and more people attending, so that makes me also think, hey, should I continue? No, my friends, I'm gonna stop for now. I think it was long, 2 hours. We did have a look at the performance. Overall conclusion is the performance is, I would say, pretty okay. I would say nice that we, I would say, had, I would say, a lot of testing, right? We did the, so we did a lot of testing with the A320 Phoenix, with the PMDG 777, some other aircrafts. I would say I'm pretty impressed about the results. So if it's good at the 16 gig, I would say give it a try yourself. I can't say, I do think that based on what we tested, 12 gig is the average video RAM which it uses. So with 16, you should be, between brackets, kind of good to go. CPU wise, hard to say, right? I've got a Ryzen 9 CPU, something. And then I would say I still have the main thread, but I think everybody has that limited by main thread. I still need to find a person in the world who doesn't have the limited by main thread. I think there are some tweaks which you can do to avoid it, but it simply is hiding it. I don't have negative impact from those limited by GPU. So again, thanks for watching and keep an eye on my channel because I'm gonna post, I would say, likely some more videos about the sim update. And of course, if you didn't try it yourself, consider joining the beta. You can still join. Downside, if you leave it, you need to reinstall Flight Simulator, and if you download all the content, you also need to reinstall all the content. Thanks for watching again. I keep saying it, and hope to see you back next time.